In this video, I'm gonna show you how to apply slip to your pots using that pinch pot that we made. You don't want your clay to be bone dry when you apply this regular slip. There's a few different kinds, so if you guys remember when I talked about slip as in clay slurry, that you like collect the little dusts and make a little slop so that you can use it as a glue to attach things. This is one kind of slip, which you could decorate with this, but it'd be the same color, so you wouldn't be able to see too much unless you're creating little textures. So that's definitely an option for you guys to use its own clay body in like making textured dots, or what I've seen people put slip in little squirt bottles like this, like ketchup and mustard squirt bottles, and then you can kind of dot it and then create textures. But basically you want your clay to be in the leather hard stage, because when you apply slip that is a water slurry of clay to bone dry, then the bone dry body of the clay will absorb a lot of that water, and then it'll cause the clay to crack, and you don't want that to a almost finished pot. So basically, if you plan on applying slip, make sure it's a nice leather hard stage and consistency. Okay, but also, like when you're handling the pot to put slip on, you don't want your clay to be super wet, because then it'll warp. So it's a nice balance. Okay, but typically, if you want to decorate things, it's set to decorate the inside first, and then you work on the outside. That is kind of the same with glazing as well. But okay, so here's our pinch pot that we'll decorate, and then I have this bucket of, it's just white slip. So it just has different clay particles that isn't red, so they'll contrast. But with any sort of application liquid on your clay, you want to mix it very, very well, because the clay particles and the minerals that add the color, all those things separate when it just sits in a bucket. So you really want to give it a good stir. If you have a rag next to you and a sink right by you, then you can mix this with your hands too. But with the clay slurry slips, you don't have to worry too much about harming your hands, other than it drying your skin out quite a bit. But some glazes do have chemicals that are harsher on your skin, so be careful with those. But all the glazes in the studio are food safe, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. Give it a good stir, really good stir. And different potters have different thicknesses that they like for their slip, but you kind of want it milky. So this is a nice thickness. Like if I put it on the clay body, it'll stay and it'll coat, give it a nice coat, so that when I actually scratch into the slip when it's dry, when it's a little dry, then I'll have a nice contrast. Okay, so you can dip your finger in, and if it's milky and it drips, it's good. And so if you really want to just kind of have part of it dipped, you can dip it. I don't really recommend dipping into slip because slip is a little thicker and it just and very wet, so kind of doesn't really always act the same. But dipping is definitely an option. So like if you want, you can dip just the edge of it, and depending on how you pull out and how slow, you can kind of control so that you don't have drips all over your pot. But it's, it's cute. It's nice design. Also, I didn't wipe my hands all the way, and I'm touching my pot and I'm getting slip on all this other areas that I don't want slip on. So that be careful with. Okay, so gotta let that kind of chill a second. And okay, so when you kind of decorate your pot with slip, I like using, this is a Q-tip. I can make cute dots with this, so it's a nice option. It's just, something you have laying around. Or you can use a brush to, paint little streaks. But with a brush, you will get like that pull from each of the bristles. So be conscious of that. But with you guys, you can get a little cup and pour some of the slip into a container, and if you want, you can take it home so that you can decorate at home or whatever, or even in the studio. Having a big bucket next to you doesn't make sense, so pour it into a little container. There's container on the middle shelves over by the sink, so just be conscious of the COVID procedures and wash the things properly. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna show you what this can look like with the dots. I think I usually do about 2 dots and then I dip again, because otherwise I get little streaks. Can you see that? Not bad. Let's see. Whoa, that was a bad one. Oops, and kicked my tripod. Trying to watch the camera. Why I would do this didn't work out. So, if you get slip where you don't want it, you can definitely clean it off. It just takes a little finesse and work. But I would wait for it to dry actually first before you attempt it, so you don't smear it all around. Okay? Let's get got little dots going on, and I can continue throughout the pot. It might look nice, or kind of create a line so that the dots only come to like here, playing with the line of this dip over here. And then So there's that option. And then the other option I'll show you is, this is a hake brush. They should have this at the bookstore. If not, any kind of craft store or supply stores have it. It's very moppy, so it's good for very like water-based inks and that kind of stuff, but it works really well for applying slip and glazes because it really absorbs that liquid. And so I'm just gonna brush on a little here and like that, and go sideways to kind of clean up that edge. But you see what I mean? When you use a brush, you get that streaks, the stroke marks. So another way to combat that is basically apply it once in one direction and then let it dry, and then you can apply it in another direction and kind of layer it, and it'll help a little. But a lot of potters like the brush strokes. Can be, depends on what you're looking for. It can be pretty. So there's that, and just put dots up here to kind of blend the brush stroke lines in. There's a lot going on this pot. I think you can experiment with whatever you want. So there's that, and then we'll have to wait for this to dry, and then I can come back and kind of show you what Sgraffito can look like on slip. Okay?